Well, hello, and welcome to Opal City Confidential, a Starman podcast, episode 74. And this is going to be TED Talks Part 2, which we will be covering two things, but the same thing. We're going to be covering All-Star Comics 13, specifically Ted's part of the story. We're also going to cover issue 57 of All-Star Comics, where we get to see that same story retold because Roy used the story in All-Star Comics 13 Shanghai in Space as a vehicle to tell a crisis-like stories is my assumption. But let's just kind of go through the basic information on All-Star Comics 13 first, because that's what we're doing first. So, All-Star Comics 13, cover dated October, November 1942. It was bi-monthly. It was published on August 21st, 1942. It costs a dime. 64 pages. Editor Sheldon Mayer. Writer Gardner F. Fox. Artist Jack Burnley for Starman. Sheldon Maldorf, Cliff Young, Stan Achsmeyer. Joe Gallagher, Bernard Bailey, and Henry J. Peter. And then I'm going to jump to the All-Star Companion, Volume 1, which has some other entry. The roll call: Hawkman, Dr. Midnight, Adam, Dr. Fate, not really, Sandman, Starman, Spectre, Johnny Thunder, Wonder Woman, Secretary, plus honorary members, Superman, Batman, Flash, and Green Lantern. So they do kind of appear a little bit. Gardner X. Fox wrote the rest of the story, except Dr. William Moulton Marston wrote the Wonder Woman issue, though he did have to edit it because he did that. Art for JSA was Jack Burnley, which was nice to see Jack doing the front. Hawkman was Sheldon Maldorf. Sandman was Cliff Young. Dr. Midnight was Stan Achmeyer. Starman, Jack Burnley. Adam is Peter Gallagher. Joe Gallagher. Bernard Bailey is for the Spectre. Johnny Thunder is drawn by Mr. Achsmeyer. And Wonder Woman artist is Henry J. Peter. It's stunning stuff. So we're going to go through that real quick because basically, silly me, the synopsis. This is a wonderful synopsis in here. I bet there's a nice synopsis in Mike's Amazing World. Some of these famous ones. It's a little shorter, but I'm going to go with this one. Hold on one second. Folks, get these tomorrows. There are 4 volumes of All-Star, and it's All-Star, and you get Infinity. You get everything tied to JSA. It's wonderful in All-Star Comics. Synopsis: Hitler and a Nazi engineer used rockets to send Der Justus Battalion. Oh, that's a terrible, bad, racist German accent. To other worlds, while Dr. Fate, absent Nazi agents use the JSAers. Agents gas the JSAers and hurl them into space. In solo chapters, each JSAer lands on a planet in our solar system, helps the locals to defeat a threat, and receives a useful going-away gift from the grateful denizens. Back on Earth, the JSAers clobber the agents and radio learn that they are back with scientific secrets that will help humanity on our side of the fence. The JSAers invite Wonder Woman to be their secretary and sing for She's a Jolly Good Fellow while Hitler tears his hair out. So for the All-Star comic, when I was reading it, I did notice how solid the opening chapter was. And I think a lot of that has to do with Jack Burnley doing the art for it. It's got a nice cover. It would make a good poster. I like it. It's Starman, Spectre, Midnight, Adam, Wonder Woman, Johnny Thunder, Sandman in his purple and gold costume, the Hawkman. They're pointing at a placard that says, "Shanghai into Space. Another full-length adventure of the Justice Society featuring your favorites: Hawkman, Dr. Fate, Adam, Sandman, Starman, Spectre, Johnny Thunder, Dr. Midnight, and Wonder Woman." And it's a neat cover. And then they just kind of use the same thing basically on the inside cover, except says working as a Justice Battalion. The members of the Justice Study still hold monthly meetings for the duration, working as a single unit to aid their nation to victory. And then it has the roll call. So we see the Nazis talking, and the rocket and the German scientist. He says he's making them. They make a bunch, and they're having a meeting, and they go into the below stairs, and they pump in gas. It even knocks out the Spectre. They're all putting rockets, and they fly off. Hawkman goes to Saturn and meets some bird people, or people that ride birds and fly birds. Wonderful Sheldon motive. Sandman, Cliff Young, his art is, I want to say it's really a very more cartoony kind of feel, but I really, really do enjoy it. He goes to Uranus, and he meets Martin X's. They look like Martin X from Guardians of the Galaxy, but it's a great one. Dr. Midnight, he goes to, where does he go? Whoa, wait a minute. What planet is this? I thought they put the names in Neptune. There it is, Neptune. His art is, it's okay. It's okay. It's not my favorite stuff. It's Stan Ashmeyer. It's okay. It's good. His head's weird, but it's a style. They're polished. Okay. Seeing Jack Burnley doing giant robots or people in giant armor, amazing. So basically, we're going to stop here and we're going to do Ted's because it's Ted's. And here, the splash panel on the top of the first page is a rocket ship. It's heading to Jupiter. And the caption goes, "The planet Jupiter is bigger than all the rest of the planets put together, including our own Earth. Its gravity is 3 times that of Earth. So if you weighed 100 pounds on Earth, you would weigh 300 pounds on the Colossus of the skies. Nearly 400 million miles from the sun, it is the next brightest thing in the heavens to Venus. On Jupiter glows the red spot, which has puzzled astronomers. No one knows what it is, hence when it came from or why. Starman, this vast heavenly titan speeds Starman in his spaceship. And he lands, and he's met by these people. They are the citizens of it, but they live in these giant armored suits so they can walk around, and they look like giant robots. And they've been watching what's going on and tell Starman what's going up. And he explains it. So they go on a mission. He's asked to help by the planet, and that one of the Jupiterians, people of Jupiter, goes, "The great spot of Jupiter that is such a puzzle to your astronomer consists of an absorbing microorganism that feeds our planet. It is gradually eating all of Jupiter." Starman goes, "And nothing can be done? Wait, my gravity rod. It has odd powers. Let me be brought to the red spot and try, it might work." Why not? We could lose nothing by the attempt. So they fly off, and the guy's got rocket boots, I guess. Starman uses a rod. It's the gravity rod. The gravity pull of the rod brings a part of the red stuff upwards. I didn't figure it on that, and it attacks the red stuff. Just attacks Starman and the other guy. They get it away with the rod, and they chase it. So what they do is build a giant gravity rod and shoot the red spot off into space. And it's great, man. It looks just like his cosmic rod. It's big. And they give him, in how to make a transparent plane material. Like, what's that thing in Star Trek, The Voyage Home? Transparent aluminum. But it's a really good, like, Buck Rogers, early 40s sci-fi feel to it, and it's Jack Burnley art. It was a fun little story. Then we have the Atom. He has the same artist as Doc Midnight. Not my favorite. He goes to Mars, and it's very much a little bit like John Carter and Mars. Well, not so much. The Spectre, he goes to Pluto, which is not a planet anymore, but was a planet then. I love the art on this. I really do. I do love the art on the sand, this on him. And then we have Johnny Thunder, who is going to Mercury, and he fights a spider. And is it a little elephant? It's a spider. These weird creatures. It's a Johnny one. It's very strange. Him and the Thunderbolt are cute. Folks, I started watching Stargirl, or catching up, and so I finished season 2. The guy that had played Johnny Thunder will always be the voice of Johnny Thunder in my head. And full stop. I loved him. Excuse me while I have a sip of tea. I'm on vacation recording this. And then you have a wonderful... Just all these Golden Age Wonder Woman stories are beautiful. I love the art. I love the art. And then we get to see the end of it. It's a good one. The little sexism with Wonder Woman being just a secretary is silly. I wish they kind of write it out in the future in the other version. But it's just odd. Overall, it's a fun, cute little comic. It's a comic for kids. Alien Worlds, neat stuff. But I know it has a soft spot in Roy's heart. It's his. Like I read early Legion, like late 60s, 70s. Some of it's hokey to kids, people younger than me, and doesn't hold up. And I get that, but it's endeared to my heart. Like especially like Silver Age Legion. Going back and falling in love with that. And I do love Justice Society. I do. I own all the archives. I've read all these things. I just sometimes the art's a little more rushed and it's uneven, and the stories are a little uneven. And what they're going for, I think we're about to go into the real war stories, and it's really the next one's really a great one. This one has never been a favorite of mine. It's never stuck to me, and also. I'm not the biggest fan of the end of Justice's All-Star Sqaudron. And you've heard me say it, and I'm a huge Roy Thomas fan, so I want to say this, I love Roy's work. I really wish he had made different choices at the end. So I got some notes here I got off of the intranet, but I needed them for me. Okay, so this book's only been reprinted, this story's only been reprinted once, which is in Archives Volume 3, which is how I'm reading it. Dr. Fate does not appear in the main story, but he is listed in the roll call on the cover. In this place, Wonder Woman gets a rare appearance and becomes an honorary solo adventure chapter, and she also becomes their honorary member and their secretary. The introductory story of this was retold in All-Star Comics 50, written by Roy Thomas, penciled by Mike Clark, inked by Vinnie Coletta and Tony DeZuniga. Part 2, which was the Hawkman interlude chapter, was in Sqaudron, All-Star Sqaudron 52, written by Roy, rescripted by Roy, I guess. Are they the exact same scripts? We're going to look at this together, but art by Al Dellinger, and they tried to make all the art look like a 40s art. 55 had the Sandman interlude. He's still wearing his purple and gold. Tim Burgard is the artist. I don't know him. But the art's okay. Dr. Midnight was in 56. It's Mike Harris and Tony DeZuniga art. It's pretty good. Starman, Wonder Woman, and Atom are all three in issue 57. Adams is drawn by Rick Hoberg. Lovely. Starman's drawn Arvil Jones and Alfredo Alcala. It's okay. Wonder Woman chapter is drawn by... Open this up. Richard Howe, which was nice. Richard Howe. Richard Howe's not everybody's cup of tea, but it was okay. Johnny Thunders is retold in All-Star Comics 58, which is Mike Clark and Jerry Arcerno. And the Spectre stories in 59. And I'm sorry, it ended in 60. Ron Harris, Mike Gustovich art. Ron Harris and Mike Gustovich. And it all... According to Harbinger in All-Star Sqaudron 60, the disruptions to the time-space continued by the antimatter is what... Well, the ones that went out in issue 50 are the ones that made everything change. They went to different parallel dimensions, different universes, versions of the planets they were. So Wonder Hawkman invites Wonderman to join JSA at the close of this issue as their secretary. This is odd, as she had already been inducted into the team issues ago. The secretary position seems demeaning, but it did serve as a rationale for hiring her. Putting her in it. She will become a regular active member as All-Star changes formats. I really like this overall, like I said. But now we're going to pause here real second so I can get set up to look at this story as it was retold in All-Star Sqaudron, issue 57. So issue 57, let's kind of just give you some of the pertinent data that we've got off Mike's Amazing World. This comic was cover dated May 1986. February 27th, 1986 was the cover date. Monthly was the 75-cent. Dang, these things weren't even $1 yet. Oh, I was in college and they still were under $1. Oh my goodness. Roy Thomas is the editor. Title is called Kaleidoscope. It has been reprinted twice. Crisis on Infinite Earth Complete Deluxe Edition Volume 1 hardcover and Crisis on Infinite Earth hard box set, which is all of those. They're wonderful. Those. It's great. Crisis of Volume and then the 3 of all the crossover stuff. All-Star Sqaudron, everybody is kind of in this in a way, but the active is everybody but minus the honoraries. I'm not going to go into the number. So there's stuff going on in All-Star, and, they've been battling just different things. And right now, like active battling in one area, it's some of the people are offering the Crisis, Liberty Bell, Johnny Quick, Amazing Man, Tarantula reappear, and they're met at a wreck of a train. Oh, it's just their sphere's been destroyed. And it's Dr. Fate, Superman, Dr. Colt, Green Lantern, Hawk Girl, Sandy, Robot Man, and Our Man. And that's the framing sequence. We see a little bit of that. And then we go to the Atom story, which is stunningly illustrated by Rick Hoberg in a very 1940s style. I love Rick Hoberg. This stuff's great. And then we have the Starman one, which is okay. It's a nice telling. It's Arvil Jones, Alfredo Alcala. I want to say this, and I really thought Trina Robbins, when I was summoned through this, had done the Wonder Woman, she'd done some Wonder Woman, and very much in the original style. But Rich Howe does a wonderful job emulating that, and it's fine. It's a nice retelling, but I just want to talk about the whole story. So Roy, and this ends in 60. The final part of this ends 60. They come back. They take a picture of everybody who's there for the roll call. It's the first meeting of all the All-Star Sqaudron. And they take the picture, and Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are in the front. And then when the picture's developed later, it's the Freedom Fighters are in it, and it's Uncle Sam and I think Phantom Lady. But there changes because of the timeline. So Roy was brought to DC. He was given editorial control over the Earth 2 thing, and he did Infinity, he did All-Star Sqaudron, and then he did Infinity. All-Star Sqaudron started amazingly. It's a great comic. I love it. It's probably one of my favorite comic runs of all time, but I do think it loses some steam around Crisis, and we've all heard the stories. Roy was upset. He didn't felt like, why get rid of Earth 2? All the things that a lot of people are still arguing today, that it would it have been fine to leave it the way it was. Yeah, maybe, probably. I miss Earth 2 in some ways, but we've also gotten so much good Justice Society since then, and such good DC comics since then, that I think I will say this, and I think post Crisis for about 10 years DC's really, really good. Goes into the 90s, some silly mullets going on, but I don't mind them. But I think DC did some really good work, and I think, don't want to take anything away from that, but a lot of us, I grew up on Earth 2. I mean, I was in college when this happened, and so Crisis was for me, I love it. It's one of my favorite comics of all time. I remember working in the comic shops when it started. I remember picking up the 12th issue the morning after I pledged to fraternity, and in like it was in January of 80. Oh my goodness, 85, 84, January, whatever it was. I remember getting it, and it was issue 12. It's the only one I got it. That's the only comic I was buying. I love it. It's George Perez, Marv Wolfman. It's beautiful. It's wonderful. I like the DC Universe after it. I think every other event is kind of done some good things or bad things. I think Crisis is, as a whole, is one of the better events ever written. It's amazing. I love it. Did some of the changes they make not work? I think Byrne made a mistake by saying no Superboy. I think that was a huge mistake. I think they've done it a couple times. I think they're now saying he was again, which I'm fine with. It makes more sense. He would. I like Superboy. Shouldn't have got rid of it. The death of characters. I think Barry should still be dead. I'm one of those people. I didn't want Barry to come back. You did it because it hurt. Same with Supergirl. I'm not a big fan of the pre-Crisis Supergirl because I never read it. It just I was I was a kid. I was a boy. I didn't read girl comics. Now that's stupid, but I think it took to get better I think some of the female character books are better now post-Crisis because they put more women in the industry. They're hiring them, and you've had great women. You've had great men. Some men have written great Wonder Woman, but also some great women now have done it, and gone and done other books. Louise Simonson's Superman is some good stuff post-Crisis. So DC changed, but I don't know why Roy Thomas makes the choice to put these in there, and he uses Crisis to say why all the planets are different. That's neat. He was trying to line things up in All-Star around the issues. And he always made sure that you saw what the Justice Society was doing in this one. And he thought he'd take the opportunity. Maybe this was his thoughts, I'm hoping, was let's do it the same way they did it with the different artists and on the different chapters. And I think that is one of the best things about it. It was seeing some of the art. Some of the art is really good. Especially the Rick Hoberg stuff is great. Orville Jones, I like Orville Jones. He's fine. I like Alfredo Calla. He's fine. I would have, but hey, it was similar. They wanted to catch the style. They do it. I just don't know why Roy's doing this. I think these issues are clunky. I have not read the back end of. I've read All-Star Sqaudron up through like 50 or up through like 50 a few times, but after 50 it became rough. And then when it gets to just being the origin issues, it's really, really, really rough. It's just sad. I wish he had made different choices. That's all. I know he didn't have a lot of say in what was going on outside of his book, but he could have thought of a way of replacing if you don't have Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman as your Trinity, who would be the Trinity? Who would be the ones that the other heroes looked up to? I would say you replace Superman with Uncle Sam. I'm fine with that. I think for Wonder Woman, ultimately, the Byrne correction of Hippolyta being the World War II Wonder Woman is the best thing. Perfect choice. I think it's great, and I think it's handled very well in Johns' Justice Society. That would be a good one. But if you don't change an active hero, I think you make it Phantom Lady. I think you take the Freedom Fighters and you pull them up front. And for Batman, I think it's either the Crimson Avenger or it's Sandman. But your thoughts, let me know. But I wish he had done something else. So, folks, that's going to be it for this Opal City Confidential. I got to be honest with you, folks. This was really rough for me to come in and want to talk to you about it. But I thought these had to go together. I thought it was a good idea. I'm not a big fan of either comic. I don't think they're terrible. I just don't think they're great. So, but I'm glad. I mean, I'm on a staycation. I had time to reread everything, do a little more homework, and found, you know what? I'm just going to talk about what I like and what I don't like I should. All right, so folks, next week we'll be back in some semblance of an order. I'm going to be recording all week while I'm on staycation. So talking with David next week with me and Dave Steele, and then we'll be back with Kirby and I talking about the Starman of the Wild West. That is Starman, and his 2 appearances, Jonah Hex. So look forward to that. So folks, as always, be safe. Oh, recommendations. So sorry. I'm reading Fear Agent for the first time. I got the big hardcovers. Love the big hardcovers from Image. Rick Remender and Mr. Opina. Jorge Opina. They're wonderful. It's great science fiction fun. Get it. Check it out. It's fun. I also got in the mail today his 7 to Eternity, their version of like Seven Samurai, and my Marvel 2-in-1 Epic Collection 3. I'm going to be thumbing through that when I'm done with this. I'm going to take a break and then do the social media stuff for it. So as always, be safe, be smart, please be kind to one another, and read some comics. Read some Justice Society.